pronounce your name for pronounce your full name because I know I'm gonna somehow butcher it. So
Oh yeah, I mean it's so Damien and then Ray, like
yeah,
Rainaud. That's it.
okay.
It's like
And
you forget about the D and the AU is just O, right? So
yeah,
um yeah.
somehow I always manage anybody who has like a French sounding name, I always somehow butcher it, no matter how many times I say it. So
Oh, don't worry, like I butcher everything that's like English anyway. So my
okay,
accent is like, so
okay. So Damien, you're a musician slash producer, and you play
mhm.
pretty much every instrument known to mankind, don't you?
Not every instrument, but like, my main instrument is drums, right? I've been to
Yeah.
drum school and for like a year and a half, I was just like 8 hours a day practicing, learning, and that was great.
Hmm.
But then I moved here and, I had to like switch with bass because it was easier to just grab a bass right here, right? And then
Yeah.
sit where I'm at and don't have to drive somewhere else, damage my ears because drums, even if you protect them, can get pretty loud, right?
Yeah.
So eventually, like some bands are like, hey, uh, we need a drummer, we need a bass player. I'm like, actually, I wouldn't mind doing the bass, and I'm like, oh, really? And then ended up like, but I play guitars a little bit, but like to record or to just track down some ideas and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So, at what point in your musical journey did you realize that you're onto something? Like you can actually make this from like just playing for fun to you can actually make this into like a paid gig and a business.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting question because uh, so basically like the passion talks, right? And then you
Mhm.
start doing things and you don't even know how or why. You just you just going towards that idea of doing music or doing whatever you like, and then eventually it's just like oh, I love it so much that I want to learn the instrument. Oh, but now that I learned the instrument a little better, because a whole life is not enough anyway, but just like you start to feel like you could do that all the time and really put
Mhm.
all the effort, all the uh, sacrifices, like like not doing something but doing that instead, even though you have to work it out and push forward. So I ended up like feeling that I was passionate about it, and that's how that's what I had to pursue and try to make happen, right? The thing
Yeah.
is, when I was younger, um, I didn't feel right for me to have a job that would be like, you leave your house early in the morning and you come back early evening, or
Mhm.
like 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever. Um, I'm not saying it's bad. You have to do that sometimes with production and stuff. You have those time and you have to go to the studio, record whoever on drums or whatever. And then, you have to do that sometimes, but you're more free with doing
Yeah.
music and stuff. I mean, that's how I was seeing it. So, as soon as I saw there is really a place for anybody. The only thing you have to do is just like always like, you know, work your way up and then try as much as you can, and don't be worried about someone telling you no or failing at a little attempt or at something. You just have to, like, if you really like what you do and it doesn't feel like painful, it feels like just doing what you love, then it only going to work. Then you have
Yeah.
to really like, you know um you have to make it happen, and you know but
Okay. So before you moved to the US,
mhm.
so like I know you're playing drums in a few different bands back home in France. So like what's the furthest you got with a band over there?
In France, like,
Yeah.
so yeah, so I had one. I mean, I had a couple, but then I mean a few, but the last one, that was a band, like we were doing original songs, and that was like, as far as originals, right?
Hmm.
But it's a band called Anthropia,
Okay.
like a progressive metal band, like Dream Theater, Symphony X, Angra, those kind of bands, right?
Okay.
So that was the serious project, but you have to like understand we're in France.
Mhm.
Things are possible. Anything is possible anywhere, right? Especially nowadays with technology and stuff. But over there, it's not as possible as here, right? As far as
Yeah.
it's harder. You don't have as much opportunity. So we're doing shows and stuff, but it was so niche that you cannot like just make tours all across Europe all the time and stuff, because you do some and then so that was like the best I could have gotten there as far as original. But then after drum school, um the best thing I think I've done as far as like work on musicality was to play with cover bands, right?
Oh, okay.
So you get out of drum school, you learn a shit ton of things. Your brain is just full of like informations. You cannot play, you know, one bar without doing a big ass impressive feel that bothers
Yeah.
everybody, because, but that's just like, how I was like, how my mindset was back then. But then, cover songs, you need to have this, uh, how can I say that? You need to serve the song. You need to play the song.
Yeah.
A lot of people, that's something I understood also. And since I'm a producer, I have to think that way all the time. But you have to get the spirit of the song, and you have to respect whatever, a classic song. People worked hard to get to that
Mhm.
classic, uh, you know, to have a classic song. So starting from there, you're starting to think like, oh, how did they interpret that song? What did they meant to do? Why they did it like that? And it
Yeah.
becomes so interesting all the time, because
Okay.
oh, I want to do this like that. I want to do this like that. No, no, no. There is a reason why. So that was the best way to like work on musicality, and have people around that playing with you and feel good about it too, because you need to have the same idea of like respecting the song, and people feel it as well, because
Yeah.
every cover song you want to entertain, you want people to feel like they're having a lot of fun and stuff. So that was I think a great school for that. And then you know it's cover songs, right? So you make
Yeah.
money than original, so you can go to a club every weekend. But I was more like 3-4 gigs a week.
Hmm.
I remember in 2008, I did 228 shows or some shit. Like
Dang, that's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. But I was like in the same type of areas, like in south of France, like
Yeah.
in the PACA region. Like so it was great. You go to a restaurant, then you go to a club, then you go to a nightclub, then you go to big events for the Prince of Monaco or stuff like that. And
Oh, okay.
it happened once. It happened once for that one. Yeah, but that was really cool. And what I meant to say is well, I can't remember what I meant to say with that, but the idea is just like you get to do a lot over there, and still like practice music basically, and just have fun and get money, and I mean make a little money. But that was, I think, like it's so I moved here like 12 years ago, and
Okay.
uh, I think like what I've done there was just to be able to have a good start to continue on here, right? So
Yeah.
you're like you my goal here is to make albums with bands, right? To produce bands, and I don't want to make them sounds like that would be my album. I want to take their music and make it even more musical and even more impactful, right? So
Yeah.
I think starting to understand by doing cover songs, but doing it like thoroughly, like you have to listen to the guitar player might tell you like that was great what you did here, but the other song I think you need to listen to it again because it's not quite there, and you're like, oh, okay. Then you listen again, you're like, oh, I know what it means, and you keep. So I think that was a really cool approach and a good school to begin with,
Yeah.
and then that was not it. I was like 25 at the time, just like, what do you know at 25? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning, but then you continue with that mindset, and then you get like a bunch of different things, and so that's quite
Okay.
interesting. Yeah.
Okay. I hear about a lot about France. I guess it's the, like you said, it is a tough market to break out of. I guess so. A band like Gojira is kind of one of those bands that sort of beat the odds and kind of became a lot bigger than some other
Yeah,
band that just
it's ridiculous in a way. Uh,
yeah.
like I said, nothing is impossible anywhere, right? Everything is possible everywhere, and it's just Gojira. It's like it let's take this with a grain of salt, but it's like the Beatles of French metal, in
Yeah.
the sense that there are all four of them in such a unity. It's not like, oh wow, they got lucky. No, they work together as four. I mean, at least back then. Now things goes faster. People lives here and there, and
Yeah.
beginning they were all together, especially the two brothers. So there is something else there, and they are really musical. Whatever they do, they need to make it impactful, right? Or
Yeah.
be doing it, and it's really I met them along the way, and I've seen them before meeting them, and I always felt like a genuine um exchange with everybody, and also like whatever they were doing, they were like, yeah, we do that, that's what we want to do, and we do it thoroughly according to their vision and stuff. So that is a part of, like, I think how they made it. And but again, it's not because they are French or not French, it's just because they have that thing that nobody could stop them. No,
Yeah.
they didn't have to
Okay.
do much more than just playing their music and it worked. Speak by itself. They didn't blow up because of social media opportunity, which is now you can blow anything up. I mean, what is it? Yeah, blow up, or yeah, you can make
Yeah.
anything like huge because you have such a access. Anybody can see you and you can show to anyone because of internet.
Yeah.
But they really did like something good, and not just you know breaking through back then, right? So
Okay.
I think that's uh, definitely proud to say I'm French because of them.
Yeah.
But on
That's
top of other
cool.
things as well, but it's like, yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know if I mentioned in the beginning, you become quite established as a producer. I mean, you work with bands like, yeah, I mean, you've worked with Fear Factory.
Mhm,
You've been involved with a couple records now. How many
mhm.
Dragonforce records have you done now? Is it two?
Yes, two. I produced two of them. Produced Mix and Master 2, the latest one, and the one that's going to be out in March 15th. I actually
Okay.
just finished it about last month.
Okay.
So yeah, still fresh. But so yeah, I've done two of them, but I've been working with them since 2012, I think.
Okay.
I basically, like, I met Herman. So that's a long story, right? I met Herman in 2003
Okay.
in France, right? So I was good friend with, I'm still friend with, but in France, a friend of mine from the band called Fairyland, same style as Dragonforce. And I
Okay.
was 17, almost 18 back then, and he's like, "Hey, we're going to the Hard Rock Magazine trophy, right?" So basically, they
Yeah.
just breakdown of the whole year, and they give trophy to the best band with the best disc, best music video, all the. And so I was at this event and stuff, and then I see Dragonforce for the first time. They just released an album, and I see that Asian guy with long ass hair going down
Yeah.
his knee. Like, I was just like looking at him, I was like, and I told him in English, like my English was very poor back then. It's still weird, but it works. So I told him in English. I was like, "Wow, I've never seen that, and that's insane." And he speaks to me in French, and I'm like, with barely accent. I'm like, "You speak French?" He goes, "Oh yeah, of course. I've been to school for, I don't know, a year or two in France, and he, really really good." So anyway, fast forward, never get in touch with him. There was, I think, the 2003. I don't even know if it was the beginning of MySpace yet. No, not even, like, that's where you can
Yeah.
start, like, you reach out to people anywhere in the world, like, easily, with like just some sort of profile in one page and stuff. Don't
Yeah.
So we never kept in touch or anything. And then I moved to the US, and I met him again. He's like, "Oh, I said, yeah, we met at the Hard Rock." He said, "Yeah, I remember well." I'm like, "Wow, okay." And so we talked. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just going through all the opportunities and see if something is doable." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then I guess, after a couple of years, yeah, I think it was a couple of years. I think I think he saw I was still around and still always like working, and so he's like, "Hey," and I was always telling him, "If you need anything, if you want me to help you with something, I really wanted to create a relationship." And he goes like, "Yeah, I have something to do, but there is no budget. It's just a demo. If you want to make it sound good," I'm like, "Yes, anything. I'll take anything." I was so like talking to him all the time about like, I would do anything if you need help. So, and I started to mix a demo for 3 songs or something. They liked it, but I was just that, right? And
Hmm.
then 2014, they asked me to do a test for a DVD, a live DVD, right? And I did the
Yeah.
test, they liked it, so they hired me for the live DVD, which was mixed in stereo and surround, 5.1. So that was cool. And then, they always like hit me up for live stuff, like, oh, we have to do 3 extra songs for this album that's gonna come out. Do you want to mix that? Oh, we have the TV in Japan that needs to do 6 songs in Osaka show or whatever. And I was always
Yeah.
some stuff. And one day we're at Nam with Herman, and we had a beer or two. And I look at him, there was a good mood, good vibe going on. And I look at him and say, "So you never thought of me producing your album?" And he goes like, "I actually thought of it. That's something we got to talk about." And I'm like, "Wow, okay." Yeah, wow. I was like, forget about the beers, everything felt great and stuff. And then we had a conversation, and then he's like, "Yeah, you want to do it? I know you've been doing some bands, and I was working with Logan Mader before, so I was his assistant. I was helping me a lot with productions and stuff. So it really helped me to just get situated, with the production task and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we started the previous album in October 2018, yeah, and then I did the second album. I mean, the second, a second album, which is the latest to date. That's going to come out in March. But yeah,
Okay.
so that's
At
pretty.
what point, and I know you played bass briefly for him, so was that just
Oh yeah,
kind of, was that because you were producing, or was it, or because the first record you didn't play on you just produced, right? Because
yeah, yeah.
Fred was still in the band.
It was still yeah. I got him
Okay.
right here recording bass. Yeah.
And then at what point did you get asked to join, well, actually not join, but play bass in Dragonforce?
Yeah. So that was interesting because so Fred did the album and he didn't even know himself, and then he got the opportunity for Creator, and he's a huge like thrash metal, death metal,
Yeah.
guy. So that was just a perfect fit for him. And I think like he was in Dragonforce for like close to 15 years or 10 plus something. So I mean, at some point that was a good change for him. Anyway, he even said to them, "You should ask Damien, right?" He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we thought about him. And then the key thing was he knows all the songs because he worked on them. Now, do I know where to put it on the neck? No, I don't. But I knew the song at least, so it was just a good start. But at first, like in between all that, I mean, I talked to them. I said, "Hey, if you need anything, I'm here, and I can, I'm just gonna start learning some songs. So who knows, right?" But I was saying that just to, I didn't learn anything at the time, but
Yeah.
and so, they say, yeah, okay, well, it's new. We didn't expect that, so we're gonna think of it and see what's going on. They're like, "Hey, you're a great option. We're all friends. It's great, but we're looking to spice up the things a little bit, and we're gonna get Steve Starberry
Yeah.
to join on bass because he's hilarious and he's he has done like it's going to be great to have him on. And I was kind of like thinking it's going to be a fun thing to see and to experience. So I'm like, okay, cool, I get it, it's fine and stuff. But somehow it didn't happen. And last
Yeah.
minute, like, "Hey, Damien, can you jump in?" I'm like, "Yes." But yes, I had no idea. I didn't play one single song. So I told them, "Yes, of course, I'm going to do it. And of course, I don't want to miss that. And yes, I'm dying to do it, right?" So, okay, you have 2 weeks. Oh, shit. Actually, that was two weeks and a half, but it's just like, so first song you do it, like, okay, I got this. Second song, you're starting to be like, okay, yeah, okay, well, that part, okay, cool. And then you go back to the first one and you're starting to get confused with, but a little bit, right? And then you have like 7, 8, 9 songs and you're starting to get confused. It's not even
Yeah.
that different, but it's different enough that it's the same, same, same notes, but not the
Yeah.
same idea, basically.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I had like a little adjustment to do. And then, so they said like, we can do it for 2 tours, but don't, don't get too excited because we're actually looking for a girl now. I'm like, something I cannot, I cannot change right now, right? So what happened is that they got Alicia, which
Yeah.
is doing a great job and stuff, and that was fine because I was able to work on other stuff, and then pandemic happened, so I was just like in the right spot during that moment, so I was able to work without being just stuck. Oh no, I stopped everything to go on tour, and now there's no more tour.
Yeah.
So everything worked out great, and then I'm still working with them, producing the album, and then Alicia was here now to track bass and stuff. I mean, everything is good, but yeah, I ended up playing with Dragonforce because of a fill-in situation that you know got canceled last minute. But I'm glad they
Yeah.
are, because we did TwitchCon, which was like I can't remember how many millions they were watching live. And that was my
Jeez.
first show with them. That was just great. Yeah, that was awesome. Seriously, yeah.
Yeah. I know you just finished. You just put out a record. Well, no, you didn't put it out, but the band put it out. But what's the latest record that you produced? You were sharing that on your social media.
Oh, that produced. So well, the latest I produced was Dragonforce, but then mixed and master, I do that. I do a lot of albums throughout the year. Because producing it's first of all, like it takes more time and more money, and the funny
Yeah.
thing is like there is a lot more bands that just do it on their own.
Yeah.
So I get more mix and master stuff, but so yeah, what I posted lately, that was something I should have posted 6 months ago, but they had the 6 months anniversary
Oh.
release. So that's a band called Wings of Steel. Um,
Okay.
that's a band from LA. Actually,
Okay.
the guitar player is Californian, but then the singer is from Sweden.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah, he's traveled back and forth, and that's a really really good band.
Okay.
Why I'm thinking it's a really good band, because they really like play interpret their song, right? They want to be as faithful, I mean, honest as possible as far as the interpretation and stuff, and I really like their song, are catchy, and the musicianship is really really good. So that was really a nice album to mix. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm working on the Canadian band,
Okay.
all still, called Glyph. Sounds really good, super catchy. I mean, for the power metal world and stuff, it's really like dead on and really cool. Um, then I have like a guitar hero, yes and no, but it's like more fusion guitar player, metal still, but amazing, from Brazil, called Gustavo Di Padua.
Okay.
Then I have a French artist that's doing electronic project, more electro music, which is cool. I really like that because it's different approach, and you kind of have to search sometimes, listen to other things that you're not listening usually, right? Then there is like another guitar player, but that album he asked me to play drums, so I did record drums for it.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool, yeah. Then there is other stuff lined up for next year, but I don't have them all on top of my head, but I could look at the folder right now actually, but there's a lot of
Okay.
yeah. Oh, there is a band also that I'm finishing up right now. So it's very interesting because it's a death metal band from Jordan.
Hmm.
And so there is the 2 main members are now here in LA, and they're from Jordan. And
Okay.
it's like death metal band, but with Arabic instruments.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, exactly. It's really like it's very colorful and tasteful, and it's super cool. like first time they sent me the demo, it's like, here are the song, you can listen to the rough mix, rough mixes and stuff. I listened to it, I was like, I was getting excited. It was not, mix, it was just like a rough. I was just like,
Hmm.
what? It's a really cool band. So then you get more inspired in a way to have something new and fresh that, gives you a different experience, different perspective, and then you have to get it creative with it, and it's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the name of that band you said?
Uh, Esodic, ESODIC.
Oh, okay. All right.
So they,
And
they did like they did an album. That was the first time I worked with them. That was back in 2017, maybe, or 17, yeah, something like that, I guess.
okay.
And that was a mixed rescue that they recorded in Jordan.
Oh, okay.
So apparently, as according to what they told me, it's kind of like illegal to play metal music. It's
Oh,
too
wow.
brutal for them. And so, like, if you do a show and you get busted, that's bad, because
Yeah.
so they kind of recorded that like secretly in a way, and then, but then nobody were able to mix it apparently, or edit it, or fix it. Like they gave it to a bunch of producers, and that. So, and one day, like I met the drummer, which is a really good
Hmm.
friend now, and we ended up like he ended up hitting me up. He's like, "Hey man, I got this thing, but do you think you could make it happen? Do you think you could mix it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So we did that rescue mix that was just like not out 10 years, it was done 10 years before, 15 years before, whatever. And then
Okay.
they're starting to get into their style and stuff, and they're in LA. So that's a really, really good band. Yeah.
Okay. And the big one we can't forget is Fear Factory
Yep.
that you've
Yeah.
been. Now, how many recordings have you been involved with now with them?
So there are a bunch of things. So first time I worked with them, that was when I was working with Logan, and that was in January 2012. I remember that was the beginning of the year. Everything was fresh and new. 2012. Wow.
Okay.
And so Logan was tracking them for the new album, right?
Okay.
I was doing some editing, and sometimes Dino was thinking like, oh, I would like to double that guitar clean intro or interlude or whatever, and I need some piano and strings unison, right? Exactly the same, but And Logan was like, "Hey, can you do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I programmed some stuff and all that, and then get to know Dino, get friend with him and stuff, and then 2014 he hit me up and he said, "Hey, I need to do some pre-production. I need someone to be able to like program drums that I have in mind, and record my ideas, and then I need someone to basically operate Pro Tools."
Okay.
So, and make some drum patterns that he had in mind, because that's funny. Dino has a riff, right?
Yeah.
What's really interesting is like, so here's how I'm thinking the drums, and he goes, "Look at me," and he's like trying to do the ride or the hi-hat or the tom stuff, and he playing it, and sometimes he put the hand like how he will play the snare, or sometimes just play me the kicks, like and so it's very interesting because he has the vision, it's there.
Yeah.
He cannot necessarily translate it to a
Okay.
computer, or to he will be able to, if but that will take him forever. So that was very interesting, and we started that, and he goes like, "Hey, you want to track the whole album, like engineer the guitars and bass?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure," and edit everything, because Fear Factory, it's all about like the mechanical aspect of things, right? So and I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool." And then I ended up like from pre-production doing not the production, because there was another producer back then, Reese Wolber was producing the album.
Yeah.
So, but I was like basically helping a lot on the engineering process of guitars and bass, and a little bit of vocals, but that was mainly with the other producer, Reese. Drums
Okay.
also, editing and all that. And then I produced the last album with Burton.
Okay.
Um, so what happened was, with this album that was done in 2017, right?
Yeah.
And I started the pre-production, and I was supposed to do the production and everything, which I ended up doing, but I was not at some point. And then that was at the same time the band I'm playing bass with, Once Human, had to
Hmm.
tour for 3 months. Maybe there was too
Oh,
much
okay.
love in the middle. So I told the guys, I said, hey, that news just, you know, got in, and here is what's happening. I cannot not go on tour. That's what I've been working on also for a while. So can you wait for me or this and that? Or is there a way? It's like, no, but okay, sure, whatever, go on tour. We're only going to do the pre-production.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we did that. And then, so there was a lot of like a few years of like legal stuff with Fear Factory, right?
Yeah.
They were going through their thing and stuff. And then they ended up being, you know, all sorted and stuff. And Dino got the 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 the, the name, and he got like everything like you know, under control for him to continue with the band and stuff. So what happened is like, hey Damien, so I don't think this album is finished. I want you to produce it, and or he co-produced as well because he's very very involved, right? I will tell him what I think, and we're gonna work on that. Sometimes like, oh, that's great. Sometimes it's gonna be like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? No, let's change that. You know, he really wants to get what he had in mind, right? So, which,
Yeah.
um, and so that was during the pandemic, right? So
Okay.
we're a neighbor, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So that's very easy for him to stop by. So during the pandemic, we're just like, you want to stop by? Yeah, sure. You want to wear a mask? I'm like, no, I'm not seeing anybody. I'm staying home. What are you talking about? So then, you know, we got to open the songs, and I was be like, okay, gotta fix that, gotta fix that. Okay, and that was they recorded drums, but I was a hybrid drums. Like some of them were just cymbals, and so I was like, we cannot do that. It's a problem. Like it's
Yeah.
mechanical, but you need to feel like, you know. So we had Mike Heller to record at his studio. We all did it remotely again because of the pandemic, but
Yeah.
sending us the tracks, we're like listening, we're like got him on Zoom or FaceTime, whatever. And like, hey, can you fix that? And can you do a stronger feel here? Can you... So we produced that as well. And then, you know, we ended up sending it to Andy Snip, which he mixed and mastered it. And, you know, I think that was a great album. So that was really cool.
Okay.
And as
From
far as
all
right
these,
now, yeah. And then now they're touring a lot. They're on
yeah.
tour like all the time, and they need to build it back up. And you know, they have the new singer, the new drummer, which that's
Yeah.
great lineup. You know, it's really cool. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
uh, the originals are just as good as the music is. Like they were the ones, right?
Yeah.
But you know, to me, it still feels the same because the singer is very similar as far as like the spirit of the band. So it's very close to Burton, and you know, Dino is really the one that's super passionate about what he does, and
Yeah.
there is a heart to his music. It's not like I'm doing that because I got to make another album. No, he's there, and he's not okay. It doesn't feel right if he doesn't have the right thing in hand, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's gonna go really well for them, and but now they're catching back up, so they're on the road, and you know.
Yeah. I don't know if you can talk about it. Are you going to have any involvement with whatever this new record, the next record that they're kind of talking about, or is this too early to talk about that?
Yeah, we worked on some songs before they go on tour and before they had to like, you know, prep everything. So you know, we've been working on some stuff. Now the schedule has completely changed because
Yeah.
um okay, let's work in September, and then they had a tour all of a sudden that was not planned in July, or you know,
Mhm.
it's like a new thing that's happening. So and so now they're gonna have a tour January, February, I think, with Machine Head and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
you know, we're gonna have to figure it out. But you know, if I should be available for them, and you know, if I'm not for whatever reason, or you know, I have no idea, but I should be involved, and but I'm not sure how we're gonna when, and you know, so but everybody,
Okay.
you know, whatever
Okay.
Dino is saying on the news is right though. It's correct. It's
Okay.
some songs are in there in the computer, and you know, it's happening. But you know, we'll see the timeline for that.
Yeah, definitely. So with each of the projects that you've worked with, like what kind of what kind of things have you learned along the way about whether you're the engineer or you're actually producing or whatever role you have? What little things have you learned from each of your projects about how to work with bands while recording that you maybe didn't know before?
Um, or before when I was to France, or before in general, or like,
Or just in general, because I know you're
well,
producing, but then you pick up new techniques or things along the way.
yeah, I mean the yes. So like you just said, like you keep evolving all the time and changing in a way. So you're still the same, I think, as far as like your taste and what you want and how you see things and your perception. But then there is this very cool thing called the internet.
Okay.
And nowadays, like you go on YouTube, you type like, I don't know, something you're not really familiar with, or you are, but you want to find new techniques or new approaches from people. You can type whatever mixer producer you like and say like how to do a guitar with, and you type the name of the guy. Sometimes you get a video, sometimes you don't, but you can get a video from a guy. It's like, oh yeah, this guy is good, so it must be like interesting. And sometimes you're like, oh, he does it like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, I'll do it differently, but either or it works, right? And sometimes you're like, oh, that's good. I'm gonna steal that great idea and not steal, like use it as a good reinforcement for my work, right? And so, yeah, there's a lot of things. Every album, you get to the point that you're comfortable, you have things, under control, and it's all like going well and stuff. And at some point you end up at the end of the process or in the middle of it, you're like, oh, okay, well, next time I'll do it differently because actually I didn't like the way I did that, or it didn't work out, or it works out, but it could be better. There's always something, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, you learn definitely every moment of every project. Sometimes you can have a client that's going to ask you to like do some changes or do some stuff that you don't think it's right. But if you take a step back and you think like, okay, someone else has a different vision, someone else has a different approach, someone has different sensitivity, emotions, or whatever. And you always get something interesting from someone. And then you could apply to another band, or you could apply to another. And so that makes it even easier at some point because you really catch. So yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from for metal production and stuff. I learned quite a bit with Logan because it was like, okay, let's go record a band. He goes, okay, let's, you can help me on that. So I don't know, placing the mics or something. Then he come check it. And, we're doing some stuff together. And then he's like, okay, let's edit the drums. So this is how I like them. This is how I
Okay.
like them to be edited. So he showed me like how he does it. And, it's interesting because I was not working in Pro Tools. I was working in Logic before. And so he said like, hey, you have to get in, you got to work in Pro Tools because you got to learn it because that's the standard in the city and in the world, basically, right?
Yeah.
But still like one of the number one. So that was a good learning curve. And then also I have a mentor, a French guy that I didn't meet in France, I met here. And he used to engineer and record bands from 90s, from 90s to 2000 or some shit. So he did like the Four Non Blondes and the famous song "What's Up." Like
Yeah.
he engineered that one. He worked with Vangelis and what is his name, the singer, yes, singer Anderson. He's a piano player, so he played piano for Joe Cocker, stuff like that, right?
Okay.
And now he does like television stuff, and so he used to do music a lot, mixing and producing, but and so but he does TV stuff now. But like it was very very intrigued to listen to everything I was mixing all the time, and was telling me, hey, careful of that, make sure this is, you fix that. Oh, that's great. Okay, that's really cool. And his name is Laurent Tardy, right? French. And
Okay.
when I moved here, it was like, what cable do you use? And I'm like, well, I don't know, whatever that's there. He goes, what? No, there's quality in cables. It's all like part of the sound. The sound goes through your cable to get the information across something else. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then he told me about all the standard microphone, right? when I say standard, because there's so many microphones, there's no one for a particular case. But so that was really, really, really good for me to have someone that's just like pay close attention to what I'm doing, on top of having another metal producer,
Yeah.
because he's more into like general music and stuff. My friend Laurent, right? But then Logan was more into metal, like
Yeah.
so that was very, very cool. That was something where it helped me to learn how things works, and being in a good like place, and be able to understand things and evolve and stuff. So I'm quite grateful for the way everything ended up being, and the ability to get information from people that care and stuff. That's great. Yeah, it's still now actually, but yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Moving forward, do you have any other future ambitions, like you want to get into, like, I don't know, like writing for TV or movies, or like songwriting, or something more, a little bit more than just producing or engineering? Is that something you want to pursue, or?
Yeah, that's something I wouldn't mind. Actually, we did with Logan back then in 2013, I think. Well, somewhere there. Actually, no, 2011, 2012. We did a whole album for a label for uh sync licensing, like they were doing like.
Yeah.
So we had some placement, and then we did another couple of other songs for like another company that were doing that. So that was great, because we're basically doing action metal, like you have strings and stuff, but it's very like action type trailer and stuff like that. So that was very cool, and metal with guitars and stuff. Then, like, as far as like writing and stuff, I always like, I always have a guitar here. If I'm rendering something, I'm always like trying to jam something, not necessarily write something, but it's I think it's you have to decide at some point, right? You cannot start doing songwriting, then playing with a band, mixing, producing, and this and that, right? You have to kind of decide.
Yeah.
So what I did is that, I mean, that's funny, because like 2 years ago, I bought Logic again, right?
Okay.
Logic Pro, I bought it again, and it for a month, every day I was just like writing songs, because I was just like get back into that mindset, that idea, and that practice, and that was a lot of fun. But they're not even finished. It was anything like, I'm gonna do a metal song, I'm gonna do a hip hop song, I'm gonna do a reggae song, whatever that could come to my mind. I just wanted to enjoy something different. And some stuff are cool, but it's like you don't have time to do everything, right?
Yeah.
If tomorrow someone's like, I want you to focus on writing songs, I'll be like, okay, and I'll just separate everything, put everything on the side, and just do that if I feel like doing it. Still,
Yeah.
I really want everything to come from my heart, and not like so I most of the all of the most of them project I do is because I want to work on it, right?
Yeah.
That's just that's otherwise you just like, oh, I don't want to work on that. Oh no, this and that. No, you do it because you want to do it. Sometimes, like I said, you have like things you have to do, and they are not even fun. But that's how it is too. But so yeah.
Okay. And I know you mentioned you're playing bass for Once Humans, so
Mhm.
I know you went on, you did it, what, a tour or two, and then things kind of slowed down a little bit. So is
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
what's going on with them?
so so what happened is that we had I'm trying to remember the chronology, the timeline. So yeah, so we had the second album released in, gosh, I can't remember, 2017, I think. And we did few
Okay.
tours, and things were going well, and then we're writing new songs, and I think we released a single or something. And then after post-pandemic, October 21st, we had a tour with Cradle of Filth and Three Teeth, right?
Yeah.
But that was the beginning of how things started, right? And so we did that tour for 10 days. We couldn't tour because someone in the bus were sharing with another band, Three Teeth. Someone in the bus got COVID.
Oof.
Yeah, and then he ended up, you know, being we're in the venue and there's someone from our bus asked to get tested. And then the promoters show up and like, what's going on? Freaking out. Again, that was the beginnings. I mean, the post, so people were still very like careful with it. So they just say like, okay, it's positive. Whoever that's in this bus, get out, and that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we had to go through that phase where we had to wait 10 days until everybody get, you know, negative and just
Yeah.
to the next shows. So that thing I think made us believe that it could be hard to go back on the road right away.
Yeah.
So we came up with a new album in February 2022
Okay.
or 20, yeah, I think that's 22, right? Yeah.
That sounds about right.
And then you know we're like I have this project to take care of. I have this to do this. And I was like, okay, yeah. And then we changed management.
Yeah.
So there was a whole like snowball things happening. And it's like, and eventually it's like now it's back to writing new songs and moving on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what's happening, like, you know, circumstances and, you know, so, but, you know, I'm pretty sure new materials are going to be on point and stuff. I mean, it's really, I really think it's a cool band. The reason why I'm saying that is because I don't write any music for them.
Yeah.
For the band. Just I did write some stuff on the first album because there was something we had, and hey, let's, you know, let's go, let's do something and stuff. But then, you know, we get into like everybody has this task, right? And so I was not even involved in the production because, you know, you cannot have me and Logan and all the people doing the same thing, right? So and Logan does such a great job to that for that. And so you know, I didn't even think about anything really. I'm like, just let me know when the song's are ready. I'll track my parts and then boom, I'll just, you know, learn them again when I have to go live, but to go on stage. But I have so much other things to do here, and they're in Vegas.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, a whole trip to go there, and I mean, not that far, but so I was just like, hey, you guys keep me posted, just do your thing, and I'm doing mine, right? But you know,
Yeah.
like when you have a tour that's difficult and you both almost like lose money and stuff, and it's not easy and blah blah. So I didn't want it to be that much involved, even though I could be, and there would not be an issue. But they are doing great on their own. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm doing my stuff. Keep me posted. I'm still here. I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. I just haven't heard a whole lot. I hear a
No,
lot
yeah, yeah.
about I hear a lot of what you do, but not what they do. So
Well, I don't post much either, so there's so many things I could talk about them. And just don't have
they
the
don't. Yeah, they don't post a lot either. So
no.
that's
It's a little hiatus, yeah. But you know, it happens to all the bands, I guess. So you know.
I see Logan's going out on tour with different or playing with different people,
Mm.
but that's about it.
Yeah, I
But
mean, yeah, you know, I think, you know, sometimes you get some opportunities that are like okay to do and light on your plate. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like, you know, when it's your own band, you have to take care of this, that, this. The list is super long, right?
yeah,
When you're being hired to learn songs, play them live, and follow the flow. I mean, go with the flow. It's just easier in a way, right? You can still
yeah.
do stuff, your own stuff on the side and stuff. So I guess, I mean, I'm assuming all that, right? I don't know exactly how it feels, but I see that would be the like what it does, you know, like you know, when we're on tour with One Human, you have to take care of like all the details, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it
I,
was easier on him to just jam with all the bands and tour for a little bit. And, you know.
yeah, I get it. So I guess the big question out of all this is being a producer, and I know you talked about in the beginning about a lot of bands want to produce and record their own material, and then you come in to kind of, like, for lack of a better word, make it sound pretty and evil. So, so for bands that do take that route and don't want a producer involved and blah blah blah, what kind of advice do you give for young bands who do want to do everything themselves and how they approach when they need help with the mixing and mastering side of things?
Yeah, great question. Here's the list.
Okay.
So I think, I'm okay with anybody's doing that, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
you can get really, really great surprises. Like, wow, you done that on your own. Wow, that's perfect. That's amazing. All details are great and stuff. That's a little more rare. But what I would advise to bands that do it like that, which it's a thing you can do and stuff. Um, the best satisfaction I got from someone doing it at home with minimum knowledge about recording and producing, because it's kind of like you can invent yourself. There's no school of producing, right? I mean,
Mhm.
they are, but it's really like it comes down to your taste, right?
Mhm.
And so, um, bands that are doing that most of the time when they're writing their song and producing at the same time, it's totally doable. But I think that's where at some point it could be better
Mhm.
if they are too much in it and they need to have someone else that show up and be like, oh, what about this here? And would you like to, or you should change that, or you should add that to it, or you should keep that. What did you remove that part? That was great. Like, give them a fresh perspective. The whole idea of producing is not to, like I said maybe earlier, like make their album your own. That's not
Yeah.
that's their album, but you have to polish it up to make it like, oh, you see, nice, right? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool now and stuff. Like I thought it was great, but now it's better. Yeah, because someone else fresh showed up, right? Um, so that's one thing, and so I think there would be great to always have someone to, like a producer, say like, not like to start over everything. Some producers, they're going to take the song and they're going to take the middle section and make it a verse or a chorus or something, and they change the whole song. That could be something to get done too. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
most of the time is like you have to understand what the band wants, and when they're doing on their own, um, they have to get advice. I think from anybody, even friends, like just like you have your songs ready as a demo, right? And just go play to a friend that's going to have a good criticism and just like listen to it and don't try to say, oh yeah, but no, I did it like that because I know why and I like it and no, it's cool. No, even if it's the case at first, just get the information from the other people and see how you think of it. I'm
Mhm.
not saying don't go ask any neighbor on your street and be like, oh, what do you think? It's cool. It was great. Great. Okay, everybody says it's great. No, musicians or people that have a little more, they see further than just playing an instrument or something, right?
Yeah.
Then what I really like, uh, end up getting better tracks and takes from people recording at home is that, some bands, and actually now I do that with every band that contacts me, unless I know the guys already know, then I'm not going to step into their world and stuff. But I always ask them like, what do you use to record? So they tell me like, oh, I do this. I'm like, do you change your strings every song? It's metal. You have to have this aggressivity.
Mhm.
It's aggressive, and it has to be very like surgical, like very
Yeah.
precise and stuff. So you have to change your strings. You want that metallic sound. You don't want a dull, kind of faded sound and stuff. So then you ask them, what interface do you use? What cables do you use? How do you track your, DI, right?
Yeah.
Your clean signal to the thing, so someone can reamp clean. Or how do you record your guitar? Some guitar players have their own tone and they're able to engineer it, which is,
Yeah.
and most of the bands, they're like, oh, I'm using this little, I'm not gonna say the brand or whatever, this little thing that everybody has. I'm like, yeah, yeah, you get the sound in your computer, sure, but it's not the greatest. Oh, what is better for a cheap price or something? I'm like, yeah, good. You can use that brand and that and this and that. Like, like actually I can tell brands, I don't care, but I always tell them like to get an Apogee duet if they have to do bass or guitar or vocals because it's going to be
Yeah.
tricky. Then I always tell them to buy Mogami cables, right? And I always tell them, hey, don't worry about sending me a message saying like, hey, I'm going to buy this cable. Is that the good one? Or what do you think? Because all that, the little differences, the little nuances, that's going to help me to get them to where they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now there is a different scenario where all that is just like sorted and they have the gear that I think is good for home recording without going crazy on stuff. It's very clean. But then you have the way they record. Sometimes it's rare because people, get it and the bands get it, but sometimes you get something that is not in time or, at some point nobody's played together for a small moment and you're like, what you guys did here? Or, and, so they have to make sure that if they do it from home, they need to make sure they do the minimum required to make it sound like a song, right? So
Okay.
I will say like, yeah, get people to listen to it, get advice from producers that you may know, and get the greatest home studio gear possible. That's it,
Okay.
Yeah.
And lastly, from all that advice, if they want to hire you for all this production advice, where can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, because of the great internet, you can, well, I have a website which is damienrainaud.com. So that's one thing where I need to update it. It's more updated on, my Instagram, for example, and then Instagram, Facebook, whatever they want. Like I get, so the thing is like, I noticed you send me a message but for some reason, I don't think I follow you on Instagram.
Okay.
But I saw like a couple of days ago that you sent me a message and I didn't see it because it's on a requested message, which I don't know.
Okay.
So sometimes it could take like a few time in order to, but then you hit me up on Messenger. I was like, oh yeah, Ray, what's going on? So actually I met you that was quite the beginning when I moved here.
Yeah.
Because you were always around, like, finding out what was new, what was going on, and like,
Yeah.
remember that Monday Metal show at the Roxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, where that was
That's
like,
how. Yeah, that's how I met a lot of people. So
yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Yeah, we always kept in touch and stuff like.
yeah.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, for sure.
Were you playing in a band yet, or was that
Oh yeah,
just?
well, I was playing drums with Consume the Fire.
Okay.
That was Nila Strauss and Carl from Snot. I mean, he was Snot singer for a few
Yeah.
years, I think. Yeah, and then he played with before playing with the band I'm talking about, Consume the Fire. That was aggression.
Instinct of aggression. Yeah.
Instinct of Aggression. Yeah. Which that was a pretty fucking cool band, but
Yeah.
continue on and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What's the name? Kyle from
yeah.
Bad Wolves played in that band too.
Yeah. That's true.
That was actually a good band.
No,
Just,
I think that was cool. Then again, it's all a matter of like standing out, right?
yeah.
If you stand out and you have something in particular that, so we had Nila Strauss, and that was
Yeah.
pretty good attraction as far as like seeing this blonde girl, a good-looking blonde girl, showing up and burning down the stage basically. It's like she was wearing and stuff, super good energy, super good like presence and stuff. So that was cool. But then we all felt like we didn't have the songs that were making it much more particular and stand out from the rest. So at some point, and we're just like, at first we're like very involved and stuff, and then we kind of like, so we're doing it. Then we're kind of waiting for the next opportunity to happen, kind of. I will
Yeah.
say. And so it dies down at some point, and then Nila went to play with Alice Cooper. I don't think that was at the same time though. I think the band broke up. I mean, that was like 10 years ago or some stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's vague, but that was great times though. That was my first shows, and in LA and stuff, like, doing
Yeah.
strip, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Nita played. I can't remember who she played with. She's jumped from band to band so many times that I can't keep track. That was before Alice Cooper.
Good question. Before a guy like a guitar player, or
Huh?
no? She was playing for a singer, or like.
I can't remember. I remember she. I don't remember if that was the same time she played with the Iron Maidens. That might have been that same time, but then she left at some point. But then again, I don't even remember who else she played with. She always had a different gig, so I can't keep track of who she was playing with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember who that could be.
So I
Because
think I met.
yeah, Iron Maidens and then Alice Cooper, and then
Yeah.
her solo stuff.
Then I met Kyle maybe a little bit before that because I think that was right after he played with like he filled in for like In This Moment or something like that.
No, I think it was in the band, but it didn't last for too long. I think I'm not
Yeah.
sure what reason, but yeah, it was in this moment. Yeah, for a moment, but
Yeah.
yeah, then he got a much better gig now. That's funny
Yes.
because yeah, we're a friend, right? We're in the same band and stuff. And he was with Bad Wolf, right? And they had like a moment where they were in studio and he had some free time, and Dragonforce thing happened in 2019. So he contacted them because he knows them too, right?
Yeah.
And then I found out, I'm like, oh yeah, well, makes sense. Everybody's gonna try to get a cool gig, right? It
Yeah.
makes sense. It's fair, right? So as soon as I was 100% sure, because that was could be anybody, and then that was the YouTuber Stevie T, right? So everybody's like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, can compete with someone that's unique, right? I mean, we're all unique, but that's we're
Yeah.
not that, right? Um, don't think of it. And then I got the gig, and I go like, oh, by the way, so I was talking to him for whatever thing. Like, by the way, I'm gonna go on tour with Dragonforce. So, but I'm not feeling guilty because you have a great gig too, which is Bad Wolves.
Yeah.
So, and we laugh, and it was like, yeah, sure, fair enough, have fun, whatever. So, but
Yeah.
Kyle is a cool guy. Yeah, I keep in touch with him. We talk sometimes when we see each other, and always have a good time and stuff. So,
Yeah. Well, you guys are the band with members with at least like 5 other gigs, and then it's just a matter of everyone lining up their schedule to play one show.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I got to see you guys once, and then I think after that show, you guys decided to call it quits. So
Oh, with yeah, I mean, we did 2 years. The what the with what Consume the Fire.
yeah,
Yeah, we did 2 years, but we probably did like, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 shows. Not even did a small tour or anything. It was just like,
yeah,
oh, we're
yeah,
gonna, yeah,
yeah. You broke up before the EP came out, so
yeah. It's on SoundCloud somewhere.
okay,
But yeah, that was yeah. I mean, that was cool because that's the way that band started. It was so Logan back then was in 2012 was he had like uh some, like, he was being hired to make songs for like uh baseball players for their walk-up songs.
okay,
So there's a guy that like Pantera. There's another guy that likes Kill Switch Engage. Then there's another guy that like what, like Metallica. I don't know, right?
yeah,
So he was writing all those songs, and then he asked Carl, right? He's like, "Yeah, you have a cool voice." They worked together on some stuff before, I guess. And it's like, do you want to write, sing on that song? And if anything happened, then we'll take it from there. I was like, yeah, sure. And they're like, oh, the 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 company picked up that song for Brandon League. I think that's his name, like from Chicago or something. I'm not sure.
okay.
Maybe that was not baseball. Maybe that was American. No, I think that was baseball. Can't remember, but maybe American. I don't know. I'm not sure anymore. Anyway,
The name sounds familiar, but I don't know what he plays.
and so then he was like, well, I guess they're gonna play a few seconds of that song every time he comes in on the field. So you guys, we should make a band, and you guys should go play shows and stuff. So like, yeah, so Logan, like, it's like, Damien, you're gonna play drums, Carl, you're gonna sing, we're gonna get guitar players. So he got, like, what is his name, Dave De La Cruz, right?
Yeah.
To play in Silent Civilian.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, you guys have, we did a photo shoot with another bass player that now plays with Headpie, right? What is his name? Kurt. I can't remember the last name, but anyway. So we just like made a band out of, like, connections, right? And then Kurt didn't continue. I mean, no, we got Kyle instead of Kurt. That was I can't remember the situation. And then Dave was like, "Hey, you need another guitar player." I was like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "Yeah, we should get Nita Strauss and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, who's that?" And he showed me some videos. I'm like, "Fuck, she can shred and stuff." She's, wow,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, sure, let's. And so we did the audition, and Logan was like, "Okay, she's in, so cool, great, awesome," and stuff. And then we started to write songs and all that. But yeah, that was just like put together at first, and then we made a band, and then
Yeah.
crazy
It's
stuff.
kind of funny when you think about it. The names you just mentioned, if this were any other place in the world, you're like, yeah, you just found them off the street, or it's like, but then you're like, wait, who is it again? And then you look at what their background is, it's like, yeah, sure, you just happened to know them. It's like,
No, you're right. You're right. That's a good point. I mean, and I realized, I'm like, yeah, this bass player now plays with Headpie, which is still a cool band. Like, it's
yeah,
like not as big as they should be, but it's still a great band. And Kyle was in this moment, or Nita, Alice Cooper. Kyle ended up touring the world, literally the world.
yeah,
And Snot, it's like it's a very hard thing to do, because
yeah,
singer was so, like, just one of a kind, and he still nailed it. So I mean, it's beautiful. And well, Dave De La Cruz played with Silent Civilian, which was
yeah.
singer of
Spine Shank.
Spine Shank, yeah. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see that we all have great experiences and stuff, and that was cool. And you've
Okay.
always been here to witness it, right? To witness it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep. I've witnessed a lot of it. So are there any other projects or anything that you haven't mentioned that you like to plug that's maybe about to come out, or you're going to start working on, or anything you want to plug?
No, not really. I mean, ideally for me, I would love to, like, just get back on drums with a band that's actually it's touring already and it's established and comfortable. I mean, I don't want to be a rock star. Yeah, I want to be, but that would be cool. I mean, eventually have a family. That's another project, right? I don't know when. I heard you have to be two to do that. So I'm still seeking for something, right? But like before that, I want to, like, tour, but not tour for like 2 tours, even though the tours with Dragonforce, I'm so grateful. But something like, and I can have fun for like a year or two and just live that experience really, like, at the fullest. On drums, that would be great, or bass, I'm fine, but that would be a cool thing to do. Maybe take a little tiny break from producing for a minute and come back stronger. I don't know,
Okay.
but that would be a cool thing to do. And then the thing is, like, I moved here for the opportunity. I moved here to grow in that environment, in the possibility of meeting the artists that I just see on the magazine.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I was looking at the magazine and I see this Mexican guy just ripping it with his guitars, and he's like the Ibanez 7 string, and like the neck, the head is like backwards, and always had this huge guitar tone that was super impressive. I mean,
Yeah.
and and you know, it's then you end up working with them, then you end up being friend, and you end up being intimate with them, saying certain things you would never think you would have share with them, things like that, right? And so
Yeah.
it's I think it's really you know, it's really cool to be able to do it here. But again, I focus on that. You know, I focus
Yeah.
just I you know, I was like, okay, I moved here, I got to do it right, right? So um I think like right now I'm at the point where I have to keep going, I have to carry on, and I'm never gonna take it for granted. I'm never gonna think that's it and that's where I'm at and I'm good. No, no, no. No, it's a whole life, even more. You need to really like get the full experience of what you want to do in life. But
Yeah.
I think like that's the best, you know, thing I've done for to move here and be in the middle. And I don't regret. Just sometimes I was just like, you know, for a long time I was like, no, no girlfriend, I'm working. Well, you always end up just, you know, meeting people and stuff. That's how it is. But you know, sometimes I was just like, you know, I was with a girlfriend and she was like, I have a 2 day off. Let's do something for one day. I'm like, I have a deadline. I really have to get this done. And sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
It creates tension because, you know, at some point the person with you can always understand. But I was really like, yeah, I moved here for a reason. And
Yeah.
uh, the hangout we're gonna have is not going anywhere. That I need to finish it today or tomorrow or whatever, right? So it could be hard, and it was hard for me sometimes, but because you know I knew what I wanted, but I think I made the right decision so far, and you know, if there was something I would do differently, and I need to still do differently sometimes, but I still do it a little less, is stress less about things because everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
So you know, just you know, but again, it's the great place to be. Like there's no questioning about it. You know?
Yeah. I think the next thing you need is, I don't know, your signature drumstick, or I don't know, like a plug in or something.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. I don't know if I have that big of notoriety yet, um, but you know, building it up. The thing is like, I need to work more on my social media if I want to get much more exposure.
Yeah.
Because I don't do any of that. Yeah, once in a while I post something because I need to say something, or but is you know, like I said, I'm doing what I need to do. Whenever I'm going to be to the point where um I have no other practice to do, necessarily hard practice, like you know, no, it's not there yet, it's not what I want, it's not my vision is not there yet, you know. And it's the same thing, like you know, you it's like you're at school and you learn a new uh, topic or whatever you call this, right? And then
Yeah.
when you kind of get the idea of it and you get more in depth to it, it's cool and stuff. But when you kind of to the point where you need to you want to find something else, so you go and find something else, and it's never ending, right? So, but I think
Yeah.
like, eventually I'm you know I'm gonna calm down and not being so like stubborn about my work and serious and all that. So it'll be a little more chill, I think, but hopefully we'll see. And then, you know, focus on other things. But, you know, right now I'm playing a lot of drums. And, I mean, a lot, no, a little more. You know, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to listen to anything, but I go listen to my drums, I guess.
Yeah.
And that feels good and stuff. So, you know, I'm not necessarily into although maybe I'm gonna do it, but I'm not necessarily into like the drummer of Instagram and show off what I do and stuff. Even though I could,
Yeah.
because you know I've been filming some stuff just for me, just to listen back, look at the position, look at this and that, or you know, see what I need to improve and stuff. But you know, but yeah, the next big thing is keep on going and still make it count, right? So
Yeah. That's what every musician and producer says. Like, yeah, I don't know if I want to film it until you get asked the same question about 15 times. They're like, all right, it's time to put up the video. Because
yeah,
like I
sure.
get tired of answering the same question.
Yeah.
So how do you get that tone, or how do you loop that drum the way you do?
Yeah. I mean, that's funny because sometimes I think of it, right? And I'm like, wow, they, you know, like a trick in Pro Tools. And at some point you don't have to be scared about if someone else is going to do it better than you on their video,
Yeah.
because the end is the same idea, but you just if a guy right now watching your videos and he get the information from you because he didn't get it from the others, then good, right? You don't have
Yeah.
to worried about those kind of things, but it's like a lot of work. You cannot just start and do it a little bit, and then you have to focus on the content creation and have something that's gonna, you don't want to do something that someone already done it, right? You want to try to get your own thing out, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, and I'm not doing that. I didn't move here to do that. I might become one day. Like I said, I don't know, but I would love to teach to people, but whenever I get to the point that I'm like, sick in my bed, and you can ask me any question, I can answer it very precisely, then I'll be like, okay, I can teach, for example. Or as of right now, I'm trying to, still like get on autopilot and second nature type of stuff more than having to teach everybody, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess the knowledge thing is what people want, and it's just like sometimes I guess some of these producers that you hear their work on the records, they're not sitting next to them, so they're watching you, whatever it is you're working on, and they can ask you the question, and then I guess that inspires them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
It's a weird concept because even when I watch this, I mean, I'm not a musician, but then there's always these people like, did you see that video of blah blah blah, blah doing that? And you're like, yeah, and then but then all these people are freaking out on the message board. So I'm like, I guess that's one way to inspire people.
Yeah, it's I mean, the thing is, like, it's we also have, like, we witness the reaction of people that were never could see before,
Yeah.
because you could only see the reaction of people in a room for a seminar, or right
Hmm.
now you have the whole world, and like there's a lot of people that don't know things, and they get the information from anywhere, and then they react to it. So there is room for anybody, and there is, like, but yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah. Blame Herman. He's the one who likes to live stream everything. So
Well, yeah, but to that, I mean, I think that's, I gotta admit and admire the fact that he built all that up, because he catch the new opportunity of Twitch.
yeah.
Then from that understanding, it got, it was like, oh, and I was back then in 2018 when we started. It's like, wait, nobody ever produced their band live streaming. So that's what we
Yeah.
did. Well, I mean, not the thousands of hours, not the 10,000s of hours we did, but like certain parts. And they were like, okay, we have some stuff to work on that song. Like, uh, we'll do that on Twitch. I'm like, okay. And that was cool, because so they show up listening to drums. Like, what kind of feel do you prefer? And G was like playing feel number one, and then feel number two, something else. And people were just commenting, and we're just playing the game. Like, okay, cool. Looks like feel number two is the winner. All right, cool. I recorded, and then boom, we recorded, same for guitar, stuff like that. So that was the first album to be produced live on Twitch, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that was really cool. And that what was interesting is that I was in the process of doing that, and then I was with them live. But then Herman was on Twitch all the time when we were playing live too. So the cool
Okay.
thing was, people like knew me from the album, so that was kind of a friendly, nice welcome to me and stuff. And they were like, "Oh, hey, Damien is on the camera. Yeah, cool." That if I mean, whatever you build, that's great for the people, because I mean, well, that was before pandemic, but it always worked hard, because you felt that was the where you needed. I think, yeah, he figured that he needed to do that to get his band to another level, which he did. All his presence and stuff got the band, bigger and more known. I mean, they blew up, and because of Guitar Hero, and that's well deserved and stuff. And this song is still like, you know, covered in any instrument possible, and every countries and stuff. It's crazy, but so I think that's really clever what he did. And then he had this backup during the pandemic too, right? Because what else you have to do? You have to entertain people if you can and stuff. And so I think that's really smart what he did. But he told me that's definitely a lot of work.
Yeah,
Constantly
definitely.
have to be present. You cannot skip anything. You just always have to like figure out what the best like hours for your stream. And sometimes he was changing hours because it's like some people there in this part of the world, they don't get much because the hours, but so I mean, I think it really the clever um move here, so
Okay.
uh,
I didn't know that about the Dragonforce thing on Twitch. I figured he did such
yeah.
a thing, but I didn't know where exactly he did it. So
No, yeah, he catch the opportunity, and I think that was cool. Yeah, that was really cool. Then he showed up here. It's like, hey guys, we're mixing and stuff, so we're just like showing off little things, and
okay.
that was cool. That was cool.
The whole time you're like, what the hell is going on here? So
Yeah, it's like cameras everywhere.
like I didn't sign up for
Sometimes
this.
we're on tour, and you get out of the shower and you just like cameras everywhere. You're like, shit, you're just a towel or whatever, but you're like, oh man, like you don't necessarily want people to see you with like hair like this.
Yeah.
But it's that was fun. Sometimes just show up, you just want to, I don't know, like, I don't know, burp or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Then they're like, hey, careful, you're live. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Until you said the worst joke ever, and then whatever. But that was
The
definitely.
worst, yeah.
Mhm.
The worst part would be like after you're doing the drum takes and then you're like voting on the ones and then you have a bunch of bands who got inspired the wrong way. Like that's not the drum take that we took. And then somebody
Right.
inspired them the wrong way. You're like, that's not we go back to the video. That's not what we picked.
I know, yeah, that was actually a thing. I'm like, if we do it, we got to do it right, because if they notice we messed up, it's like, oh shit, we don't remember. Well, we take that one. It sounds good, but that was not the one. Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't get any backlash or any, anything, so that was fine. But I think every time we're like, you know, um, agreeing with what they said and stuff. But I think we mentioned like if in the end even the whole thing disappeared because we decided otherwise. So, but it stayed for sure, because at this moment we have figured out the best songs, and so we didn't do
Okay.
it this time though. Actually, this time that was quite secret because we started in October last year. I mean, actually, they wrote the album like 3 years ago during the pandemic, because that was the only thing they have to do, right? Um, and then they waited until they had some tour done after pandemic with the previous album, because the previous album was pretty big as far as like the Twitch production thing.
Yeah.
Then TwitchCon, we started with the tour with TwitchCon, which was like live stream and stuff, and so there was the stakes were higher, let's say, at this moment and stuff. But then pandemics like lose the momentum and all that, right? So they milked that album a little bit afterwards. They did a couple of tours, and then here comes the new album. Here we go, right? So, but
So anything else you want to plug or anything?
um, no, I think no, I think we covered it all. I guess
Okay. And then, so if anybody wants to get a hold of you, go through the website or one of the
Yeah,
socials.
Instagram, Messenger, I mean Facebook, whatever. Um, I don't necessarily have the notification on some of the stuff. So I check them, but sometimes I don't check them for 2-3 days. That's kind of bad, but I know that, you know, I never had any issue with that. And then, sometimes I really like cannot have my phone here, but I need to
Mhm.
sometimes for, I don't know, if someone send me an important email, or Dragonforce send me a file, or well, not anymore because we're done, but you know, I,
Yeah.
I have certain stuff, but then I kill the notification. Otherwise, it's just like you get distracted all the time. But again, sometimes you cannot put your phone down
Yeah.
because you might expect stuff that are urgent. So yeah, but no, I mean the website, email, Instagram and stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
All right. So,
you know, the funny thing is like that's the details no one heard before, but you know, I'm able to record here as well as France, for example. Like Dragonforce, the latest album, we recorded drums in December, and we did that in Nice, in France, right? So
oh, okay.
yeah, there's a great studio over there of a close friend of mine that's just built it, and yeah, it's my go-to studio over there. It's like whatever you can get in LA, you get it there, pretty much, right? So
Okay.
you know, great gear, great room, great cables, great everything. So yeah, so I do that there. In case there is a European band that would like to work with me, or here in LA, you know, in this room I can
Yeah.
pretty much do everything but drums, right?
Yeah.
Because drums is like a certain setup, and it makes more sense to go rent for a day or two a week, other than having a huge overhead that you have to make sure you can cover, and then you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, but
I
yeah.
get it. I get it. Oh, nice.